Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is revealing the Clippers' #1 greatest strength. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community, which is launching this week, and also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com, which is coming after that. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So last night I watched the game. I'm sure a lot of you guys watch it who follow this channel, and I have a lot of different thoughts. So today we're going to be releasing a lot of different videos. So stay tuned. We're going to release 2 to 3 videos today, so stay tuned. We have a lot of content on the way. Obviously, this all depends when you see these videos. If you see this one first or you see the next one first, just keep browsing the channel. We're going to be dropping them. We're gonna be publishing these videos today. Anyway, let me get into the topic here. So, the Clippers got off to a great start this season. They had one of the top records in the NBA. When they started off the season, they had to play some pretty tough opponents in the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. These were 2 important games that they needed to play. Obviously, the Lakers, we were expecting to see them. We're expecting to see these 2 teams match up with each other in the Western Conference Finals last season, which we didn't see. And obviously against the Denver Nuggets, a team that knocked them off, we wanted to see how they would bounce back. And they were able to get 2 leads on both of those teams and beat them, right? And last season, that was one of the issues they had, was holding on to leads. And Patrick Beverley said it beautifully. He said, listen, we just weren't mentally tough enough. We weren't mentally tough enough to hold on to leads, and that's why we lost. So it was good to see how they started off the season. They didn't have a good preseason, so a lot of people were kind of in panic mode, and I told people to just relax. Listen, it's a preseason, so since when does a preseason become a barometer of how a team is going to perform in the regular season? And as we saw, they got off pretty well. We were all interested to see how their 2 new pieces would match up with how they would look with Serge and Nicholas Batum, more so Serge than Nicholas Batum, because Serge was greatly missed last year in the playoffs, but then Serge ended up fitting in very well, especially in that Lakers game, but so did Nicholas Batum, a guy who was meant to replace John Michael Green, ended up turning into a starter. And when Marcus Morris came back, who was a starter, Marcus Morris Sr., he ended up getting demoted to the bench. Not demoted, but he willfully took that position. He said, listen, I don't want to screw up the chemistry on this team. I'll take the bench role, given that the fact that the team is rolling. And I thought that was a good thing, a very unselfish move. And you could tell where his mind was, given the fact that his brother just won a title the year before. I'm thinking he wants to do whatever it takes to make sure he gets a title for himself. So they did that. Then they got Tyronn Lue, who I thought was an upgrade as a coach. I like Tyronn Lue. I like a lot of his philosophies that he's putting forth this season. I think he's holding these guys accountable, but he's also relatable. That's one of the things that the players have mentioned quite a bit. They say, listen, he's a guy we can relate to, right? He can relate to you on a human level, apart from just being a coach. They have that. He's implemented a new system, an offensive system that's working wonders for the team. I like their ball movement, although they've gone away from their ball movement, their spectacular ball movement, which caused them to have the #1 3-point shooting percentage in the league, one of the top 3-point shooting teams as far as makes. In the NBA, one of the top offenses in the NBA with a great ball movement. If you look at some of their stats last night, which I wasn't aware of, they have a lot of the corner 3. They're the most dangerous team in the corner 3. I think Marcus Morris Sr. is shooting like above 70%. They have a lot of players shooting close to 50% from those corner 3s. So the Clippers have just been fantastic. Let's just be honest about it. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both having stellar seasons. Kawhi Leonard this season is averaging 26.5 points per game, so a shade under what he was averaging last season with 27.1. He's shooting 50% from the field, so he's actually shooting 3 percentage points higher this season than he did last season. He's shooting 2 percentage points higher from the 3. He's shooting 40% from the 3. Last night he made 5 out of 6 3-pointers. He's shooting 88% from the free throw line, a virtual tie from what he shot last season, but he's getting you 5.9 rebounds, and that's something I mentioned early in the season. I wanted to see his defensive rebounds go up, his overall rebounds go up, and now they're 5.9. Last season he averaged 7. I'd like to see him get up to that 7 mark because he's a big enough guy to do it. He's 6'7", 6'8", playing the small forward position. He can get you 7 rebounds a game, getting you 5.1 assists, which is a career high. Although he's been going a little bit away from the assists, but he's beginning to go back to that now, and getting you 1.8 steals. So Kawhi Leonard is having a great all-around season. Of course, you have his running mate, and Paul George. Excuse me, I'm going a little bit fast because I have a lot of information. If I go slow, it'll take me forever to finish this video. Anyway, Paul George is averaging 24.5 points per game. He's shooting 50% from the field like his co-star Kawhi Leonard, but he's shooting 48% from the 3, 90% from the free throw line. So he's having a 50-40-90 season, averaging 5.5 assists, which leads the team, and getting you 6.2 rebounds and 1.2 steals. So the Clippers are having a great season. They just recently came off of a 6-game road trip in which they went 4-2. Now, 2 out of those first 2 games, they were without their stars, and they lost the first game to the Atlanta Hawks, but then they beat the Miami Heat, who were without a shorthanded Miami Heat, who were without Jimmy Butler. So they ended up going 4-2 on that road trip. But recently, they dropped their last 3 or 4 games, right? And there are 2 major factors to this. Number one is fatigue, because they just been on a very, very intense stretch of games, playing a lot of games close together, and injuries. For the majority of the game, I think maybe 8 out of the last 9 games and 9 out of the last 10 games, Patrick Beverley's been unavailable, who's a starter, who I think last night you guys saw in his limited minutes. You see the impact of Patrick Beverley, not just on the court, but off the court with his energy. You saw that. And also injuries, the fatigue and injuries. They lost Patrick Beverley. They lost Paul George. They've been without Paul George for the last 3 games. And what that causes the team to do is now take guys who are normally role players and put them in the starter positions and ask them to do things that are requiring things from them that they normally are not accustomed to giving. Right now, you see Reggie Jackson out there playing more minutes. You see Lou Williams out there playing more minutes. You see Terrence Mann, who's just been fantastic. Let me just say this: Terrence Mann playing more minutes. But you can see they had some rest. They had the last 2 days off, and last night they were playing against the Timberwolves, and they finally got Patrick Beverley back, which I found out towards close to tip-off. Now, he played limited minutes, but you can see the immediate difference with him on the court, with his energy on the floor. He was making great plays. He seemed very steady. You saw his defense getting a lot of steals, taking charges. This is what you get from Patrick Beverley that I like. This is what he gives. This is the reason why I think they should retain him. Although he's always injured, he's the guy I want to retain because he has his defensive intensity and fervor. It makes a team a different team. They said this even in practice. When Pat is out there, it's a different team. The competitive level, it just goes to the next level with him out there. So I like that. But also, you saw that Kawhi Leonard and Lou Williams were more aggressive, right? These guys were out to score. Lou Williams seems like he's finally coming out of his funk, beginning to hit his shot. So that was good. But I think their biggest strength, to get to the crux of the matter here, I think their biggest strength is health. If the Clippers are a healthy team, they've been sensational, right? If they're a healthy team, they've been sensational. They were the last team to drop 2 games in a row, right? They were playing great basketball. Now, granted, you can lose, but when they're healthy, they're a very tough ball club to beat. Like, let's just be honest about it. When they're fully healthy, they're one of the top 5 offensive teams in the NBA and one of the top 5 defensive teams in the NBA when they're a healthy team, right? When everybody is playing their natural positions and they're firing on all cylinders, they're a very difficult team to beat. Even the Brooklyn Nets, who are a juggernaut of an offensive team, they beat them by 4 points. It wasn't like, oh my God, they beat them by, and that's probably that is the most potent offensive team in the NBA. So for me, I think the Clippers can play exceptionally well when they're healthy. And thus far, over the last 8 to 10 games, they've not been fully healthy. Right? And you're not really getting a chance to see what this team can really do. But what I do know is when they were healthy, they were very, very difficult to beat. And I think they were one of the top 2 teams in the NBA with them and the Lakers. So for me, I think the Clippers' greatest strength is their health. If they're healthy, then they give themselves a chance to win every single night. So that's what I think. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me that the Clippers' number 1 strength, or their greatest strength rather, is their health and their availability? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.